welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And today's episode is brought to you by Similry Breast Pumps. Similry Breast Pumps wants you to have control of your pumping journey with ultra tiny pumps as small as a sticky note to fully adjustable pumps with 85 setting combinations. You're in control of your pumping journey. And we will hear more from our sponsor later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, see if you can give any of them your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we are on Patreon. Click the link at the top of the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and see if one of those tiers looks good to you. We would like to see you there with all of our original content and our Zoom Hangouts. And we are having a great time getting to know each other. And we are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. We are getting them all the time. So go for it. Take a screenshot of your written review or your stars or your whatever you're able to leave wherever you listen. And along with your address, send that over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And we will send you a fun goodie bag of podcast stickers and thank you for nursing in public cards that you can spread around your world and spread some joy. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
I do actually have a review of the week. I recently discovered this podcast while perusing the internet for validation that my 19-month-old not yet sleeping through the night is normal and that I'm not alone. I found a blog post by Abby that made me feel so reassured, and it was such a breath of fresh air. I looked closer at the website and realized that she also had a podcast, so I gave it a listen. I cannot express how refreshing it is to hear all of my personal thoughts stated by others in podcast form. The first episode on the list happened to be about sleeping through the night, which was exactly the area I needed support in. So I honestly feel like me stumbling upon this fantastic podcast was destiny. I am a hospital-based midwife and see and hear all of the discouraging things that come along with working in that setting: unnecessary formula supplementation, negative feelings and opinions on co-sleeping, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll definitely be referring my patients to this podcast before birth even happens to help set them up for success. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
that's amazing. And
a 19-month-old sleeping through. I was just going to say, a 19-month-old sleeping through the night is not necessarily what happens.
I mean, no, that's not what you're going to expect. That's not what you would expect. If you say, like, my 19-month-old sleeps through the night, you'd be like, oh, that's unusual. Great. Awesome. Good for you. Also, I feel like this is the only job that you can have where you're not ahead of everyone else when it comes to something. Like if you're an accountant, I feel like tax season is a little bit more, like you got more of a handle on it, right? Than everybody else. If you're a mechanic and your car breaks down, you're like, okay, I got this. I could probably just do this myself. But when she's a freaking midwife in a hospital and is still not, I mean, it's such a friggin' shit show that like even she's like, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I hope that makes people realize that, like, sometimes you're not supposed to know what you're doing with these babies. Like, no one knows. We don't know what we're doing with these babies. We're just guessing.
Well, we know.
We try to know, yes.
We know what's supposed to be happening. But when you have your own baby, nobody knows.
No, and she's right. In the hospital setting, there is a lot of unnecessary supplementation. There is a lot of negative feedback on co-sleeping. They freak out if they see you sleeping in the bed with your baby in a hospital. I worked in a hospital. I know that that's what they do. I know there's a lot of formula supplementation that's unnecessary. Oh, yeah. You see it all the time. And for somebody, and that was one of the reasons why, like, I could never go back to work in a hospital, knowing all the things I know now. I was very early in my lactation days when I worked in a hospital setting, so I was still kind of like a little too nervous to speak up about all that stuff. But the people that I worked with were not. And I remember she was like one of my mentors. She was hilarious. And she was like, well, I guess I got to go down and talk to the special care nursery again about the birds and the bees and what actually happens with lactation. So, and she goes, they have a shrine down there for formula. Like she was just really funny about it because they just, the unnecessary supplementation was just rampant. And I could not do that anymore. Knowing what I know now, like I can't. It's just so ridiculous how much stuff goes on. And yes, some of the stuff, and when I'm saying unnecessary supplementation, I mean like unnecessary. There is necessary supplementation and then there's unnecessary supplementation. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of unnecessary supplementation. Things like, oh, your baby seems to be hungry and your milk isn't in yet, so let's give them formula. Yes.
Well, that's
like
why
that's unnecessary supplementation. Yeah. And that's unnecessary supplementation.
Yeah. And it's so common. I mean, they're just going to do whatever is to just pass some of that formula off to you. It's almost like, it's like, oh my God, let's just give everyone just a little bit of this stuff. We've got so much of it. And they don't realize that it's just there for the formula companies to benefit from exactly that. From exactly just like, let's just give it to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the formula companies are the ones that win when your baby doesn't breastfeed. They're the ones that get money. So it's like they want you to have it. Oh my goodness, it's a whole thing. So thank you so much for sending that into us. Now we totally got on a rampage
go on all day about it, and we probably will.
So just wait. We just will go on all day about it at some point.
Yeah. Well, today aren't we going on about that today?
We are kind of going on about that. And it's sort of. Yeah, I guess sort of. So,
well, before we get to that, are you going to talk about today?
I was going to say we get messages. We've gotten messages from places that we didn't even realize we had messages.
Yes.
So,
and you found one on YouTube.
Which is going to be today's on YouTube, episode. And that's going to be today's episode. Yes.
And Tom.
And we found a bunch on Spotify.
Yes. Diane's husband, who does our podcast, like all the technical stuff that Diane and I don't care about. He found a zillion comments on Spotify. And I would just like to say, I'm sorry. We're very sorry. We had no idea that
I thought you couldn't leave comments on Spotify.
Well, you can't leave reviews.
I guess I thought that meant you couldn't leave anything. Yeah.
I would imagine, why can't you write a review if you can write a comment? I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
But I guess under each episode, there's a way to comment on the episode because they're commenting on particular, specific episodes. And so I was reading through them. Some of them are questions. Some of them are just, hey, thanks for this episode. And so we're going to kind of just, first of all, sorry that we're late to the game. And if you're still listening and you had a question on Spotify, then we're going to get to it in the next few weeks. Today, because we're blabbing on about this, we'll start off with the very top one, which is breastfeeding parent. Can you explain this to me? Yes, I can. The breastfeeding parent is the parent who breastfeeds. Get it? The parent who breastfeeds. Breastfeeding parent. The parent who breastfeeds.
Sometimes you have two moms.
And so did you.
But they both don't breastfeed.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a feeling that might be the issue here.
Yeah.
Is that we're confused about that. So moving on. I was just seeing if there was there's niceness. Really needed to hear this. What episode is this? Feeding during the night. Really needed to hear this. I needed this episode so much. It's so good to have reassurance that I'm not doing anything wrong. Oh, wait, there's an arrow that's view more comments. There's even more comments under that. And when Tom sent this over, I was like, I can't find it. how do I find this? How do you find the comments?
Oh my gosh.
He's trying to figure
out. And then
out.
he took a screenshot. Yeah.
He just took a screenshot, but also there's like see more, which he didn't click just because he was just like, look at all this I found. I don't know.
There's like 7 years worth of comments on Spotify.
I know. Well, at least it seems like 6 months ago is the longest so far. So at least it's not like ancient. Anyway, we can get to today's message on YouTube. What did you find?
So today's message from YouTube, and this one came just from the last episode. So because I'll get an email that says like, that there was a message left for you on YouTube. So I looked to see what the message was, and this is what it is. Thank you guys for everything, whether it be advice or just feeling like I have support through my breastfeeding journey. We have just begun almost 2 months ago, and it has been somewhat of a roller coaster. I started by pumping and bottle feeding because I thought that was the easiest route to go, although allowing other people to feed him, but I got quickly overwhelmed trying to keep up with his demands and ended up switching to exclusively breastfeeding and pumping every so often just to keep up my supply, as I am just enougher. I feel since the transition, he has become more fussy and I am unable to put him down most of the day. I can't tell if this is normal or if I'm doing something wrong. Also, the past week at around 8 to 9, his bedtime feed, he's been fussing at the boob and acting like nothing is coming out. So I've been supplementing with formula because I know he needs to be fed. I just was beating myself up because I didn't want to give formula. I did stop pumping as much when I switched to breastfeeding. And so I've been trying to do it more during the day to make up for that feed before bed so I can stop giving him formula. Sorry for the rant. This whole experience is all new, and I just want you guys to know that I listen every day and try to learn. Thanks for being on this ride with me. So I just want to say, first of all, is I just feel so bad for this person who wrote in because she must be feeling like, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? And she even said in here, like, am I doing something wrong? But we wanted to talk about this because there's so much in here that people... I think that is very common.
Yeah, totally.
I think a lot of this is really, really common.
It's and so common.
We just wanted to talk about it so that if anybody else is going through this right now, hopefully we're going to be able to help you out because there's a lot in here to unpack.
I would just like to say that my computer is kind of going in and out, and that doesn't matter because I'm dealing with it. But I kept moving it, and then I just now put it on my lap and started bouncing my knee.
Oh
like
my gosh.
A freaking baby. What is wrong with me? Like my computer's crying, and I'm just like, it's all right. It's all right. We're going to get through this. It's okay. It's all right. I hear you. Mommy's here.
Oh my gosh.
And also...
But it's working, so...
I know. It seems to be working. I was also going to say something related to the, this is what I want to say too. I feel like there's become, we've worked the world, not just us. A lot of people have worked really hard to get like breastfeeding information out and talk about risks of formula and all of that kind of thing. And so I think we've gotten to this point where people will be like, I'm so proud. I didn't give any formula. I breastfed for 3 years, whatever, never a drop of formula. And that is awesome. That's great. That was my second story as well, and I'm very proud. But my first story was not that, and I did give some formula, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay that you give some formula. It doesn't have to be this thing like you failed, there's no just like win or lose, there's no like, I gave some formula, so I didn't get, the all the points, all the breastfeeding points that I could have gotten. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything went wrong. It just means you're figuring it out. Breastfeeding is a big, long thing with like decisions that you're making all day, all night. It's not just this thing that you win or lose. You're working it out. You're working out the way that it's working out, and it's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, it was the same with me. My first one, I had him. I popped him out, right? Had him. And his blood sugar was low. I didn't know anything about anything. His blood sugar was low. So they said, we gave him a little bit of formula. His blood sugar was low. We gave him a little bit of formula in a tube so you can still breastfeed him. And I was like, okay. Like, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. And
I
you're
didn't
like,
know
okay.
why they.
You're like,
it's exactly what I said. I was like, okay.
Okay.
And
Thanks for taking care of my baby. Like,
right. Like, that was it.
They are not spokespeople for formula companies. They're just trying to help your baby. Like, these are literally people working in a hospital who are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to help you. They got that job. Nobody goes into that stressful environment because they don't care. Like, everyone is literally trying to help. The formula companies are not trying to help. But that's like a big machine. That's not individual people that you're coming up to. Anyway.
But my twins, they got formula every day for probably the first month until I could figure out how to make breastfeeding work. And it took me about a month to figure out how to get a routine with them. And then they didn't have formula after that. But I mean, you use it when you need to use it. That's why it's there. And I know in the beginning of this, we were talking about kind of slamming it and being like, oh, unnecessary formula supplementation. But this is necessary. Like, if you are feeling like this needs to happen and you're the one driving the bus, then that's okay. Like, if you're feeling like I need to give this baby a little bit of formula, but she might be kind of feeling like the baby's fussy. I don't think there's any milk. I need to give the baby formula. That's a really common feeling, especially in the evening. Too. Yeah. Especially in the evening. And that doesn't necessarily, I mean, you always have milk. And I hear people say this all the time, saying, I don't have any milk in the evening. My milk is just gone. And your milk is never going to be just gone until you wean. That's when your milk is gone. Your milk is always there.
I just tested it out the other day. I was like, I wonder if I can still express liquid. Because I remember a couple years ago, it was like wet in my shirt. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And there was like, yep, I can still do it. I can still express. I mean, it's not white. It's like clear. But it still comes out. Yep, I can feel it. A little drop. So like,
Abby can totally
once you breastfeed, there's always some freaking something in there. It's not just like full or empty.
And I mean,
anyway, go on.
You can absolutely still, put your baby to the breast. Babies fussy in the evening is a very, very common thing that is happening because your baby's overstimulated. There's a lot going on. It's a very common time for them to be fussy. So that is what we see. That they're just fussy in the evening. If they're fine,
that's why we call it the witching hour. That's like what it is. They're just fussy in the evening. It's just time.
Yeah, especially around that bedtime. Like, they're just really fussy. It's just when they're fussy. But so we should probably take a break, and then we're going to talk about like why people choose to pump and bottle feed, because that was also part of her message. Okay.
Yes. We'll be right back. Similarly, Breast Pumps wants you to have control of your pumping journey. With a continuous focus on research and development and a team comprised of CLCs, Similarly Breast Pumps strives to offer pumps for every lifestyle. From ultra-tiny pumps as small as a sticky note to fully adjustable pumps with 85 combination settings, you're in control of your pumping journey. With resources like virtual breast shield sizing consults in English and Spanish, and an exclusive Get the Right Fit program that offers a third set of breast shields for free, Similarly gives you vital tools for a successful journey. A safe choice for everyone, all Similarly pump parts and storage bags are phthalate, BPA, and BPS free. Better yet, Similarly breast pumps can be personalized with a fun pumpskin decal. See their full pump family at SimilarlyBreastPumps.com. Similarly is CIMILRE breastpumps.com, and use code BADASS for 15% off of your order. And they have everything. They've got all of those pumps. It's cool to see all of the pumps that they have. So check it out. And first, see if your insurance, they'll help you see if your insurance will cover it. And if you like anything you see there, or a pump or anything, use code BADASS for 15% off of your purchase. And all of our sponsors and the promo codes can be found at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Also in the show notes under this particular episode, we'll have similaries. And over at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, you can find all of our other episodes, our resources page, and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Mm-hmm. People are doing it. Get on the.
If you feel like you don't have enough milk, give her a call.
Absolutely. We'll go through all the things. And that was another thing I wanted to talk about is how do we know, right? How do we know that the baby's getting enough milk? Because that is something that we really are, we worry about. That is one of the big worries. And that is something that she's worried about. So one of the things that she says here is, I started by pumping and bottle feeding because I thought that was the easiest route to go, allowing other people to also feed him. But I got quickly overwhelmed trying to keep up with his demands and ended up switching to exclusively breastfeeding. So first of all, that's a really hard thing to do. So I totally give you credit for going from exclusive pumping to exclusive breastfeeding, because it's hard to make that switch once you're used to seeing what's going in the baby and seeing how much they're getting and all of that stuff. It is really hard to make that switch. And a lot of times people, like, some of the reasons, everybody's got their own reason for choosing to exclusively pump. That is a lot of work. And I give people so much credit who can pull it off, because there's a lot of people that do it. But it is a lot of work. And sometimes people choose to do that because they want to see exactly what the baby's getting. They can't do that with I can't see what the baby's getting with breastfeeding. I don't know what they're getting. I want to see what's happening. So I want to give bottles. That's a lot of anxiety that's driving that as well. And I think people know that, but it's definitely a lot of anxiety that's driving that. She also said, I wanted other people to be able to feed the baby. That's something I never really worried about. So I can't really get into that as much because I never really worried about that. I was like, that's kind of my job. And I felt good about that. I felt really good about being able to look at my babies grow and be like, that's from me. Like, I did that. Nobody else can take credit for it but me. I'm selfish like that, though. So I just kind of like I never really cared that nobody else could feed the babies. I was like, whatever. I really feel like if she, depending on why people choose to pump and bottle feed, I mean, there's a lot there. And I think some of it is being driven by anxiety, like when people really just want to pump and bottle feed. And if she was worried about like, oh, I don't know how much the baby's getting, like, how do we know what babies are getting? And I know we've talked about this on the podcast before. We know we watch their diapers, right? We look and see, like, are the baby's diapers? Are they pooping and peeing? Are they pooping and peeing enough? That tells us the baby's getting what they need. Because I know she said, oh, ever since I made the switch, the baby seems fussier and I can't put him down. So she's wondering, I'm kind of reading between the lines, and she's wondering, like, okay, is the baby getting what they need? Because now it seems like I'm exclusively breastfeeding and they're fussier. He's fussier now and not getting is he getting what he needs? Is he pooping and peeing? That would be my first question. Is he pooping and peeing? Is he like going a couple hours between feedings? Is he growing? Is he gaining weight? Like, those things would make me wonder, like, okay, if there's like the baby's not pooping and peeing, it really went down a lot since I switched to, just to only breastfeeding. Were we overfeeding him before with bottles? That's the other thing. Like, was he getting too much milk before and now not getting, now getting just what he needs? So does that seem like it's not the same? Like, there's a lot happening. And I wish she would see somebody. Like, I wish she would talk to a lactation consultant to kind of ease her worries about it, because I feel like she's probably doing just fine.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what usually ends up happening, right? Is that you learn about these things, you learn about all the things that you just talked about, and then it's like, oh, okay, maybe there's no issue.
Yeah. Or is somebody like in her ear saying, is the baby getting what they need now?
Well, that's
Like
always
that's,
possible.
it always happens.
Mm-hmm.
And people are always like, got something to say about how you feed your baby.
They do. I
They're
mean,
always going to have something to say.
they're always going to.
I mean, it doesn't stop with just breastfeeding because you hear it even when babies start solid foods. If you choose to make your own solid foods, people got something to say about that. If you choose to buy it, people got something to say about that. You know, if you choose to not give cereal and go straight to meats, people got something to say about that. Well, that's not what we did with you. You had cereal, blah, blah, blah. Like, who cares? You know, like somebody's always going to have something to say.
I know. And
exactly.
very rarely
Nobody asked you.
Asked. Yeah. I don't know why people have so much. My mom was here this week, as she is every week. And so my mental stability is always, a little on edge. And we were talking about our dog Glacier. We have this dog Glacier. He's very sweet, but he's very high strung. He's nervous about everything. And I can't remember what I said. I said, I was like, Glacier, why are you such a baby? Or something like that. And she goes, well, he's a baby because his parents made him a baby. And I'm like, what? Huh? You mean me and Josh? She's like, yeah. I mean, you babied him, so he's a baby. And I'm like,
what?
We're talking about a dog. How do you not, what? I didn't let him go out and get his own food in the alleys enough? What do you mean? He's a domesticated wolf.
Exactly.
We took him, he's, I don't know. And people will straight up say that about a baby too. Oh, you're spoiling them. Oh, you're not. They need to figure that out on their own. What? They just got here. How? How do you? What?
Yeah. I had a client recently that was kind of dancing around that. Like the baby was like a month old, and she said, "Oh, but we respond to her right now because she's still a little too little to, to." It's like you should always respond to her, right? Like
she's
I wasn't
too young
really
for us
quite
to
sure what they're
ignore her
getting
yet.
at.
Oh my god!
Like she's a month old. You have to respond. You have to pick her up when she cries. Like there's no.
I mean, you should respond to somebody crying for the rest of their lives.
Right. How would you like it if you were crying over something and somebody was just like, "Oh, get over it"? I mean, that would be my mom. That's what my mom would say.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole generation.
Right. And that doesn't feel good, does it?
No.
Does not feel good for somebody to blatantly not care that you have feelings.
Right. And that's what, I feel like that's what goes into this is the relationship that I want to have with my kids. That's the relationship I don't want to have with my kids. And so I'm purposely, sometimes my mom will make comments about what I'm doing and I'm just like, yeah, that's what we're absolutely doing on purpose. Because that's what I want for it to be like between us. I don't want this with them.
Right. And that's the beauty of you being able to raise your own child. And I think that's why, when people say, well, I want other people to feed the baby, I can't get into that because I just don't, why? Why do they need to feed? Why do other people need to feed the baby?
I know. If you really want, if you're just I would really, it really would, because I do also, if you're saying, I would like somebody else to feed the baby because I'm trying to build this, self-care time into my afternoon or my evening, and it's very intentional, and then my partner can feed the baby, and then I can be I don't know. If you're driving this and you're the one who wants it and you see value in that, then do it. Especially if it's around self-care, because that is awesome that you're paying attention to that. If it's just because the other person is like, well, I want to bond with the baby. I want to turn to feed the baby. I want to hold it. I feel like I should, then it's like, it's not about you.
Right.
First of all, I don't need more things on my plate, like pumping and stuff like that. And you can bond with a baby in 8 million different ways.
Right.
You don't have to just pour like food in their gut. How is that just like the only way to bond?
It's just, it doesn't. And you're not really bonding when you're feeding them a bottle anyway.
No, they are literally it is taking 100% of their attention to stay alive with breathing and sucking and swallowing all at the same time. They're not like, oh, look at my daddy's beautiful eyes. They're just like, oh my God, I hope I don't die. They're like,
being
breathe,
waterboarded.
Suck, swallow, breathe, suck, swallow. Like that's all they can't, they're not relaxed or something. They're fighting for their life here.
Sometimes it's like, I've had people that tell me that they chose to bottle feed because the grandparents pushed it. Because the grandparents wanted to be able to feed the baby. Yeah. Like, everybody wants to feed the baby. Everybody wants to feed the baby. And I just don't see, I don't know. We'll probably lose listeners over this, but that's really how I feel about it.
Oh, well, I mean, why? Well, I mean, I guess we lose listeners about all kinds of things like breastfeeding parents.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have said breastfeeding parent more in this episode. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know, because we always come across these comments too that we're shaming people, and I don't understand how, which is just, maybe that's just because I'm stupid and I don't. Anyway, you do it if you want to do it. Like if you're the one driving it, that's what we're being very clear. I think, like, if you're the one who's driving this, then by all means do it. Because this is about you. This is literally about you. It's not even about the baby. This is about you. What you need right now, all the rest that you need, the attention that you need, the food, you need to be eating food and drinking water and having doing everything you can to make yourself able to care for a newborn all the time. So whatever works for you. If that's something that works for you, then do it. And we will help you figure out how to do it. We can help you figure out how to schedule that pumping session. We can help you figure out how to schedule the other person feeding the baby so that, if you want a nurse when they get back and how to time that and all of that, we can help with that. But if it's somebody else who's forcing you to do it, ew. That's too much for you. You can't do that right now. And it's so hard when it's like your mother-in-law standing there like, I want to feed the baby.
I know, it's really hard. And then this person that wrote in, obviously she was like, that was becoming too much, trying to keep up with his needs and trying to do all that. So I went back to exclusive breastfeeding.
Right.
Whereas exclusive breastfeeding, it sounds like it's hard. And it is hard. I'm not going to say it's not hard. Yeah, but it's not as much work as exclusively pumping. Exclusively pumping is a lot of work. Exclusive breastfeeding, you put the baby on the breast and you let them eat, and that's it. You're not cleaning anything. You're not measuring anything. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're just feeding your baby on demand and just letting them eat. That's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And we always, I hear all the time, it is not uncommon the concerns that she has, because I hear it all the time that, with the baby's fussy. Are they not getting enough? Now they're fussy. They weren't as fussy like this when they were, when I was bottle feeding. Were they in a food coma? Like, babies fuss. That's pretty normal. And I think sometimes people don't realize, like, that they think that babies are going to eat and just be quiet and go to sleep.
They were probably younger too. If it's something that you used to do, now then that was before, and your baby's a little older now, and their fussing gets more intense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're getting stronger, they're getting louder, they're getting bigger, and the fussing is going to get bigger too. And then they're going to be having full on tantrums. And, you know, it's just
Over
it changes.
nothing.
But it's not always a milk
Yeah.
supply problem. It's usually not.
No. And I really want you to, if you're somebody who's out there sitting there going, I really am wondering, do I have a milk supply problem? Is the baby not getting what they need? Is that why they're fussing? Do I give a formula bottle in the evening because the baby's not getting enough? Like, definitely talk to a lactation consultant because I don't want you to feel that way. It's a lot to carry around with you day after day after day.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel, it makes me feel anxious just thinking about it. Like, just thinking about this person really being worried every day.
Yes.
Is my baby
Your anxiety
am I
is
doing
giving
the wrong
Dianne
thing?
anxiety, so stop.
It is. Yeah.
Call Dianne so she can put your anxiety to rest so she can stop being so nervous for you.
And my own. I'm telling you, I really worry about these parents because it's a lot. It feels like a lot.
And I know. And you see like people with newborn babies and you see yourself. You're like, oh my God, I've been there. I know what it's like to worry about this. I know what it's like. And I also know that like, you're going to be fine in a few months. Like this is all going to seem like ancient history pretty soon, but they're just in it. They're just still in it. I remember we were putting our house up. We were going to put our house up on the market. We had this lady come over and walk around and we still had our mattresses on the floor. So she walked into the bedroom. She was like, oh my God, you guys are so in it. You're like really you're just like in it right now. And we're like, yeah. Like she's just like, oh my God. It's just like, yeah, I don't even know. We can't have these mattresses on the floor if people are going to come look at your house.
And that wasn't that long ago that you were thinking about doing that.
Well, it's happened a few times over the years.
Oh, has it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The mattresses are up now. They're up on normal bed frames, but we still got Exley in there. Well, he's always like, I want to go on a sleepover. I want my own room. And I'm like, how are you going to have your own room if you need to sleep next to me?
Right.
Anyway,
he's sleeping in his room.
I have done that.
Different show.
I've done that.
Anyway. I know. But anyway, I hope the person that wrote that is listening. And thank you for listening. And thank you for leaving us a message. And if anybody has any, we'll find your messages eventually.
You know what? I can go to...
We do thank you for leaving them.
Yeah. I'll go over to YouTube and find the comment and then just say, like, we have an episode coming out about your about your question.
What was that?
You know, I'll go over to YouTube and leave a comment. Like,
oh, yeah.
Listen on this day for an answer to this question.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.